So welcome guys. For today's practice, we're going to be focusing on some shoulder openers. So when we are ready, we're going to find any easy seat that works for us. And as always, we can adjust and readjust until we found something that works for us. So when we are ready, we'll close our eyes. And once we are here, today I invite you to just notice how it feels to have your legs crossed, if they're crossed, how it feels to be kneeling, if we're kneeling, or whatever other configuration our legs might be right now. I want you to pay attention to how one leg feels as it's next to on the other, and then likewise how that second leg feels as it connects with the first one. If our knees are bent, I want you to notice the sensation of those knees being bent. And if we're connecting to our mat or to the ground in any particular way, I invite you to notice where the pressure is landing on them. And then what we might do is take a moment just to notice our breath. Again, we don't have to do anything different. The simple act of taking a step back and noticing how it feels to breathe helps us become a little more present. Now, if it feels good, we might let that breath get more expansive. That expansive breathing can help let the brain know that it's okay to at least momentarily wind down and calm down. And so what we might do is just on that inhale, we'll expand our breath out. And the exhale is just a little slower. So again, we can expand on the inhale and slow it down on the exhale. And just make that time your own. Now, if it works for us, today might be a day that we do our one breath meditation. So with that, we just try our best to bring all our attention to one singular breath. And then if the mind has to wander afterwards, that's okay. So perhaps we can notice bring all of our attention to that one inhale and its corresponding exhale. And if the mind needs to wander for a little bit, that's okay. When we are ready, we might try that again. All the attention going on the inhale and on its exhale. Again, if we need to let the mind wander, that's okay. We can remind ourselves that if we give ourselves even just one moment of presence, one moment where we can find a little surrender and some serenity, that's a moment that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So maybe we're ready to intersperse that throughout our easy seat. And we might even find today is a day that we intersperse it throughout our entire practice. Just that moment to focus all the attention on one breath in and one breath out. And we'll give this about 1 more minute. And if we need to use that minute to sit in quiet contemplation, that's perfectly fine. I contend that is a type of meditation. If we would like to add in the occasional one breath meditation, we may. If we want to go further than that, we can too. Again, make that time your own. Give ourselves a moment just to do a little checking in. How are we doing? Just a few more breaths. Now, when we are ready, we can bring our hands together at our heart. And we'll pause to set that positive intention. And we can always wrap that intention in with a one breath meditation throughout our practice, focusing on one breath in and one breath out, and perhaps reminding ourselves then of whatever our intention is today. And then we can take in the inhale that we need. The exhale could rest our hands against our legs. And always mindful the eyes could stay closed for as long or as little as we need. And if it feels good, we'll start with our seated cat-cow movement. Now we're welcome to shrug the shoulders back and let our chest lift up. And I invite you to press that belly to the spine. Let the chest lift upwards, not forwards. Now when we are ready, we'll shrug our shoulders forward and let our upper back lift straight up towards the ceiling, still pressing that low belly in, making sure the low back is not trying to travel to the back of the room. And if we're ready, we'll find our seated cat-cow flow, so we could shrug our shoulders back and let our chest lift up, and then we'll shrug our shoulders forward and let our upper back lift up. And we can just repeat this now. We'll shrug back and lift through the chest, and we'll shrug forward, lift through the upper back. Now I invite you to let any breathing pattern sync up with this. Now we might find we like to inhale as the shoulders shrug back, and then exhale to shrug the shoulders forward. This variation might help us stretch out through our chest and shoulder muscles. Maybe it gives us a fuller breath because we have a little more space in the ribs. But likewise, we can do the inverse. Inhaling instead to round the shoulders forward helps open up the upper back. Now maybe just a few more like this. And we can end on whatever it is we want to end on today. We decide if we want a little extra cat or a little extra cow. But once we're ready, we'll come back to center. It might just feel good to shrug the shoulders out a little bit. When we're ready, we'll find our goalpost arms. We'll let our elbows bend and come out the sides. And it's really up to us if we want them shoulder height or a little tucked in. Just changes what we're stretching. It might even feel good to let the elbows do a little traveling back. Maybe even the chest lifts up a little bit. Maybe not. Now, if we're ready, we'll find a little bit of a flow here. As we're ready, we'll bring our arms in front of us and we can cross the arms and let opposite hand find opposite shoulder. And then when we're ready, we'll uncross again and just let those elbows come out to the side. And maybe on our next exhale, we'll cross, hands on shoulders. Now, if we're ready, we'll find that flow. On our next inhale, we'll come out to the side, deep breath in. Exhaling, we'll cross the arms. So our inhale, we can uncross. The exhale, we can recross. Now, if we'd like, we're going to start to go at our own pace. And if we're looking for a little bit of a brain teaser, maybe we can alternate which arm is on top. So using those exhales, maybe the left arm's on top. But on our next exhale, maybe the right arm's on top. Again, make that time your own. Just a few more like this. Again, deep breath in if we can. And eventually deep breath out. We don't have to go in sync with me right now. Now, if we can, the next time we cross our arms, I want you to pause there. We're going to press through the belly. We're going to lift through the chest. And maybe those elbows can lift up a little bit. Maybe not. Listen to your shoulders. Listen to your shoulder blade area. We're going to try our best to breathe in. And we'll try our best to breathe out. And then if we're ready, we'll relax that down. We might shrug our shoulders out and we'll find our way into a tabletop position. Whether what you want to roll over your shins or swing around your legs is up to us. So once we're ready, we'll just do a few cat-cow movements from here. Now we're welcome to drop the belly down and maybe take a breath in and then round our back and take that breath out. And we can just repeat this movement as it feels right for us. Just a little bit of cat, a little bit of cow, only now from our tabletop position. And again, what breathing pattern do you want to do here? Each version has their own benefits to them. The conventional version is exhale and round the back and inhale to drop the belly. If we are practicing belly breath, this is a great pattern to do because it gives us a moment to really let that belly relax. And then a little press of the belly to the spine as we round the back. Again, we might inhale for that back rounding. And that, again, gives us a little bit of an extra stretch in the upper back. And can even play with little core activation when the belly drops on an exhale. Again, make this time your own. We're just going to wind down from this if we are ready. Nice and slow. We're going to come back towards that tabletop position. We're going to do our best to find that neutral spine. And this might even be a chance to practice a little gentle core work. Notice if you tend to drop the belly, like we're always in kind of a default cow pose, and press the belly to the spine as if the tailbone is trying to point out the wall behind us. And we'll see if we can keep that as we find a little bit of our twisting table flow. So what we'll do is we're going to take our left leg, we're going to take that left leg out to the side. We'll extend that left leg out and we can plant it down. Now, if we are ready, we can take our left arm up towards the ceiling. And we might even just pause here for a moment, maybe take a deep breath in. On an exhale, we'll twist and we'll bring that arm underneath us and we'll reach towards the opposite wall. Now, if we're ready, we'll find that flow. On our inhale, we'll come up. And on the exhale, we're going to twist, bring that arm underneath us and just reach towards the wall. And on an inhale, we can come right back up. And on our exhale, we'll twist. Maybe one more like this. We'll inhale as we come up. And we'll exhale to come through. Maybe we can inhale and come up one last time. We don't have to. So we're going to bring that arm down if we can. And maybe we play with our gate pose. So we'll take that left leg up. We'll bring it behind us nice and mindfully. We'll plant the foot down. We'll pivot the heel down. And if we're feeling stable, that left arm can reach up again. So you can make this pose your own. Now we might find that having that right shin parallel along our mat really doesn't feel good. If that's the case, we can always turn it out a little bit, let it turn into a kickstand. But again, make this time your own. Really check in. What is your variation of the pose right now? Deep breath in if it's possible. Deep breath out. One more breath. Now, if we're ready, we'll come down, hand and knee. We might need a moment to shake out that right hand. We might even prefer to shake out the left. Again, make that time your own. If we're ready, we'll try it on the other side. We can take our right leg out to the side, even let it hover, and then eventually we'll let that foot plant down. Now, if we're ready, we can bring up that right arm, and maybe we take a deep breath in. On our exhale, we'll twist, and we'll go underneath the belly and just reach for the wall. Now on an inhale, we're welcome to come back up. And on an exhale, we'll twist and just really actively reach as if we're trying to grab something. And if we're ready, we'll inhale right back up. And on an exhale, we'll twist and reach. Maybe one more time like this. We'll inhale up. And we'll exhale and reach. Now if we would like, we're welcome to reach one more time. We don't have to. We'll bring that arm back down. Now, if we're ready, we're going to find our way into that gate pose. We're going to take our right leg, we're going to lift it up, we'll swing it behind us. That foot finds the ground. We pivot it down to the ground. And if we're feeling stable, we can let that right arm reach. So there's a lot going on with this pose. It's not just balance. We might be feeling a little stretch or a little tension in that bottom leg, that left leg there. And again, we are welcome to help our balance out by letting that leg rotate out a little bit. Again, just make that time your own though. What's your level of challenge today? Now we're gonna try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. One more breath. Now, if we're ready, we're welcome to bring that arm down. We're welcome to bring our leg in. Maybe we shake things out or roll out our wrists, really whatever we need. And when we're ready, we'll take a few moments in the child's pose of our choosing. Now, we're welcome to bring the knees together or bring the knees apart. It's up to us. We'll shift back and eventually back and down. Now, we'll give ourselves a moment here if we can. Now, maybe we can do that one breath meditation. Maybe we can remind ourselves of that intention at the end of it, maybe not. And especially in times like this where we tend to project ourselves into the future a lot or think a lot about the past or just be caught up in our thoughts in general, even if we can give ourselves that one breath break, we are doing such good things for ourselves. So if we can, just focus all that attention on one breath in, all that attention on one breath out. Now, if we would like, we are welcome to find that first down dog. We're welcome to come back up, readjust the knees, readjust the hands. We are trying our best to let those fingers spread wide. Notice if you tend to bring your thumbs behind you to make a tent. We want to bring the palms down. We want those fingers, those thumbs essentially facing towards the side. It's harder for the forearms, but kinder for the wrists. We're going to curl our toes. We're going to let our hips shift back and eventually shift back and up. And maybe we can think about our hips simultaneously trying to point out our ceiling and point out the wall behind us. And we're just trying to think a little bit of length through our back. Maybe it feels good to press our hands down into the mat. Now, if we find that pressing down tends to mean we're pressing down and away, we can press towards the middle as if our thumbs that are now towards the sides of each other are trying to meet. We might feel a little broadness in the back when we do that. But again, I want you, especially today, to notice, can I think a little press through my hands? Maybe my shoulders get a little closer to the ears. This is one of the few times that it's okay and even encouraged to let those shoulders go by the ears. And maybe we can think length through the back as it lifts to the ceiling and then maybe travels to the wall behind us. Again, just a nice little upside down letter V. If this doesn't feel good, let the knees come down. This is a great variation. Whatever we found, we're going to try our best to breathe in and try our best to breathe out. Now, if we are ready, we'll find our way into our forward fold. Now, it might just feel good to walk our feet in or walk our hands towards the feet. This is your forward fold. How do you want to get there? Now, it's our forward fold, and what we might do is just roll out the wrists a little bit. We did spend a lot of time on our hands today. We can also do our wrist hugs, where we do a very gentle squeeze underneath the wrist, or even gentler on the wrist itself. Now, it might feel good to shake out our head like we've said no. It might feel good to nod out the head like we've said yes. And what we might do is we might try to see what can soften in this pose. Can I soften the back of my neck? Can I soften the area around my jaw? Can I soften the area around my eyes? Can we soften the area around our forehead? Now, is it possible to give this a deep breath in and a deep breath out? And if we're ready, we'll come up to stand, and what we might do is press through the feet, maybe press that belly to the spine too as we come up. Those arms can reach up and overhead. And eventually we'll let our hands find their way towards the heart. If we can, we'll pause here for a moment. We'll take a moment to breathe in. We'll take a moment to breathe out. And then maybe we find chair pose. Now with chair pose, we're going to try our best to let our toes point straight ahead. It's okay if they have to turn out for now. But if we can, we're going to point them straight ahead, whether it's hips width distance or the feet together. We're going to shift back and down. And what we might do is we might, again, think like my tailbone is trying to travel a little closer to the wall behind me. We're trying our best to put the weight into our heels. Sometimes when we come into our chair pose, we kind of sink a little forward and all of a sudden those knees are past the toes. We want to shift that weight back. That makes the glute muscles work a little harder. It's a little kinder on the knees. And as we are here, great time to notice what is challenging. How are my legs doing? Can I focus on this pose? And when it gets challenging, can I take a deep breath in? Can I take a deep breath out? Can the one breath meditation help me here? One more breath. Now, if we can, we're going to come up. We'll relax the arms down. We can shrug out our shoulders. Now, if we'd like, we'll find our way into standing locust. Now, we might like to readjust the feet. Now, the arms can go behind us in whatever way works for us. We're welcome to hook the thumbs, clasp the palms, hold on to our wrists. If we have a belt or a tie, we're welcome to hold on to that, whether the knuckles face inwards, or if we like to make the knuckles face outwards, make that time your own. And again, we'll take a moment. I'm gonna press through the belly. I'm gonna lift up through our chest, and maybe we can shrug the shoulders down. So being very careful in this pose. We might have the tendency to jut the chest forward or let this kind of sink into our low back. We want to avoid both if that's possible. Keep that core engaged. Press that abdomen in. Lift up through the chest. And it just so happens our shoulders will relax down. We are welcome to add some active elements, like thinking about our shoulders trying to travel to the back of the room, or gentle squeezing of the shoulder blades if that works for us. Some people even like to place their hands on their tailbone and just do a very gentle press of the tailbone, and maybe that guides those shoulders back just a little bit. Again, make that time your own. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. We're going to try our best to breathe in. We're going to try our best to breathe out. One more full breath. Now, if we're welcome to, if we would like, we're going to come into our forward fold. If it feels good to keep the hands still behind us, we'll take a moment to come back to a more neutral spine. Maybe we soften the knees and we'll start to pitch forward. Checking in with our shoulders every step of the way. Now, we might prefer our hands here. Some like to bend the elbows and let the arms slide up the back. Others find they like to keep the arms straight and maybe they naturally lift off the back. If yours don't force it. Some like to do a combo of the two where the arms have lifted but the knees or elbows are bent. And we might even prefer to keep our knees a little bit bent. One of our shoulder muscles, or a muscle that connects at the shoulder, is actually one of our biggest low back muscles. Bending the knees relaxes the low back a little bit, which might help us out with our shoulders. Now we're going to try our best to breathe in. We're going to try our best to breathe out. Maybe we even shake out the head if we feel like we have space for that. One more breath in. One more breath out. And if we'd like, we can bring our arms down. We might shrug out the shoulders. Maybe another shake out of the head. Just let everything relax. And then we'll come up to stand. We'll press through those feet. We'll let our arms lift up and overhead. And eventually we'll let our hands find their way towards the heart. Now if we can, we'll pause here. We'll take that moment to breathe in. And we'll take that moment to breathe out. Now, if we would like, we are welcome to come to the top of our mat. We can relax the arms. We're going to find our way into our warrior one, but first we might play with our balance. If we like, we might put our weight into our left leg. We're going to press that left foot down. Notice if you can keep your knees soft as we lift up that right knee. Now, what we might do today is just play with a little corrective exercise, or at least corrective alignment. Notice your hips. Notice if the right hip tends to lift up or if it tends to drop down and we put too much weight into that left hip, and can we bring it back to center as if we just drew a straight line from left hip towards right hip, so neither lifting upwards or downwards. Just notice how that feels. Now if we are ready, we are welcome to find our way into our our warrior one. We're welcome to step our foot back. We can let our heels spiral to the ground, facing forward, arms can reach. Now we always check in with this pose. This pose runs a high risk of doing something funky to our back knee if we're not being mindful about it. If we are here and we're feeling any type of twisting sensation in the knee, we might heel toe that left foot out towards the left. We can also bring that right leg in. We can also kick it back a little bit so that spiral is a little less spirally. Now if we're ready, we're just going to pause here. Take that moment to notice the pose. I know for me, one of the ways I can tell what my current emotional state is how quickly I'm ready to jump out of the current pose I'm in and into whatever's going to be next. That means I am just constantly thinking about the future. I'm a little anxious about the future, and it's manifesting in my yoga practice. So if that is happening, no judgments. Again, we don't want to judge ourselves for these observations. We just want to be aware of them. Notice if that's happening right now. And can we balance it out with a deep breath in and a deep breath out? One more breath. Now, if we are ready, we'll find our flow. We'll start slow and eventually sync it up more with the breath. We're gonna let our front leg straighten, we'll let our elbows bend out to the side. Same deal here, do we like them at shoulder height? Do we prefer to tuck them in a little bit? Do we like to shrug back and lift up through the chest? Again, make that yours. Now, when we're ready, we'll return back to our warrior one. Rebend that knee, arms can reach. Now, if we're ready, we'll find that flow. On an inhale, we'll straighten the front leg, let those elbows bend. On the exhale, we'll return back. So again, we could inhale, find our version of goalpost arms. On the exhale, we come back. So again, now I want you to go at your own pace now. Use your inhales as your cue to make goalpost arms. Your exhale is your reminder to come into our warrior one. Now, again, just make that time your own. Let the breath be our guide here. So again, that's one of those mental tricks that helps me when it comes to syncing up breath with movement. It's not I'm doing movement, and I hope my breath can sync up with it. It's I am breathing deeply, and it is the breath itself that is reminding me to come into this movement. This is breath-led. This is not body-led. Just a few more like this if we can. Maybe one more. Now, if we are ready, we're welcome to come back to our warrior two, our warrior one, and we're going to pause here again. Now, one last breath in, one last breath out. And if we're ready, we'll find our stargazing warrior. We can let our arms relax down. We can bring the arms behind us in whatever way we'd like. Now we can shrug our shoulders back and let our chest lift up. Now, if we need a break, we are welcome to turn this into stargazer, which just means we let our front legs straighten. But again, just notice. Again, I always like to say, notice where you are with your discomfort. Notice if it is constructive discomfort of challenge versus the warning signals of pain, or we're just past our limits. Notice where you are at today. Notice what's constructive. Adjust accordingly. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. One more breath. Now, if we are ready, we're welcome to come back to a more neutral spine. If our leg was straight, I invite you to rebend it. We'll find our way into humble warrior. So we can start to tip the hips forward. We can let ourselves slowly lower down. We might find we're pretty high up. We might find we're on level with our leg. We might find we even go past the leg. Lower does not mean better. Lower makes it different. I know for me, staying pretty upright or keeping myself in more of a hovering position is actually harder than if I brought myself all the way down and my shoulder can kind of rest on my leg. Again, what do we personally need? What's your level of challenge today? Whatever those arms do, whether we like the bent elbows, arms up, combo, none of the above, listen to your body. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And give yourself just a few more moments here. I know this is challenging. This is where the yoga really shows its true colors. Can I stay present? Maybe I do a one breath meditation here. And if we're ready, we'll press through the feet. We'll come back up. We'll relax the arms. We'll shrug them out. One last warrior one if we can. Maybe those arms can reach one last time. And then we'll relax the arms and we'll step that back foot in. Now we'll take a moment before we shake anything out, if we can. No worries if you already have. Can you notice how left leg feels versus right? Likewise, right leg versus left. Maybe notice the thigh area first, then notice the calf and the ankle area. Now if we're ready, we'll try it on the opposite side. And of course, if we need a little shaking out before we do that, make sure you get that included. Now if we're ready, we'll put weight now into that right leg. Soft knees. Notice if we tend to lock out the knee, just put a little bend into it. We're going to press that foot down as we lift up the knee. But again, notice Do I hike up my left hip, or does it drop down and I feel my right hip kind of juts out to the side? Can I bring it to center? And I might mean thinking about that outside thigh muscle area on the right side, really activating. Maybe we're noticing if I can relax that left side of the back, depending on what we need to do. Again, just one more breath here. Again, we're challenging our balance. Now, if we are ready, we'll step back, heel spirals down. We try our best to stay facing forward. Arms reach up. This is getting a good number of deep breaths. This is your chance to adjust. Do I need to adjust my front foot, my back foot? Do I need to kick the heel back a little more or bring my back leg in? What do you need? Again, just notice that pose. Notice what happens as we take that full breath in. And that full breath out. Now, if we are ready, we'll find our way into that flow. I'm going to start nice and slow first. We're going to bend the elbows as we straighten our leg, but we'll take a moment. Now, we're welcome to stay with goalpost arms. We don't have to switch it up. We might prefer to let our palms face the ground and then do a little drawing back, like we're starting to row a boat. It gets at slightly different shoulder muscles when we do that. Now, if we're ready, we'll add in that flow. We're going to inhale and return to warrior one. And we'll exhale and come up. But again, we don't have to do the inhale to lower down and the exhale to come up. We might like to exhale to come down and inhale to come up. Now make that time your own, and once you've found the breath pattern that works for you, I want you to again think, it is my breath that guides this movement. It is not I am moving and I hope my breath can keep up. It is I am breathing and I'm going to see if my body can sync up. Again, whatever breathing pattern works for us today. Just a few more like this. It's okay if the arms are getting tired. Maybe one more. When we're ready, we'll meet back in that warrior one. We can let our arms relax down. Now, when we're ready, the hands will go behind us. Now, if we are playing with the hands clasped, notice that it's our dominant thumb that's probably on top. We're going to switch and let all the other fingers follow suit. Now, if we can always shrug back. We can always lift through the chest. And we want to think, press the belly in towards the spine. Don't let this collapse into our low back. Our body is going to try to do that. It's going to think, oh, you want a back bend. The easiest way for me to do that is to jut out my tailbone area and crunch up through the low back. So we want to think, press through the belly. That tailbone is heavy, almost like it's trying to point towards the ground. We just happen to lift through the chest. So again, whether it's stargazing warrior or stargazer, make that time your own. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more breath. Now, if we can, we'll come back up. Now, if our front leg was straightened, I invite you to rebend it, and we'll start to tilt forward. Now, only as far forward as it works for us. Notice the version you need. Now, if it doesn't work to have our hands behind us, that's okay. Do not force anything. Maybe the hands are down. Maybe we need the hands on our thigh for support. Notice what your level of challenge is and breathe into that, not somebody else's level of challenge. Now, we're trying our best to breathe in, and we're trying our best to breathe out. One more full breath in. Full breath out. One last breath. Now, if we can, press through those feet. Come back up. We can shrug out the shoulders, let go of the hands. One last warrior one if we can. We're welcome to bring those arms back up. One more breath. Now, if we're ready, we'll come back. We'll relax the arms. We'll step our back leg in. Again, can we notice? Can we notice right calf versus left calf area? Right thigh versus left thigh? Again, we don't want to think of this in terms of better or worse. They're just different right now. And if we like, we're welcome to shake them out. We're going to take a few moments in our mountain pose. We're welcome to bring our arms down. We're welcome to rotate the palms forward. It might even rotate forward in a way. We might even feel that a little bit in the shoulders, letting our shoulders relax down. And I want you to take a moment here if you can. Now maybe we can take that moment to come back to that one breath meditation. Come back to that intention. What was that positive word that worked for us today, that resonates? Something we want to cultivate, something that we'd like to see more of. And then when we're ready, we'll find our version of eagle pose. So we can always relax the arms, we can relax the legs, we can shake them out. Again, we don't have to do the balancing portion of eagle pose if balance does not work for us today. This can be done in our chair pose instead. But what we'll do first is maybe we set up our toes to let them point relatively straight ahead if we can, and we'll bring our elbows out to the side one more time. We're going to find those goalpost arms, but this time we'll take our left arm and bring it underneath the right. Now we might bring our elbows, our hands to our shoulders. Now if our elbows can stack pretty comfortably and we can rotate through the shoulders, we might place the back of the palms to meet. If the wrists allow it, we're welcome to rotate all the way and our fingers meet the opposite palm. But if we come into this pose and all of a sudden we're doing these kind of funky things with our wrists, all of a sudden the cross uncrossed or anything that doesn't feel good in the shoulders, please come back to either bear hug or the uncrossed variation. Again, our body doesn't really think about what it's going to feel like, it's just trying to accomplish what it thinks it should look like. So this is our chance to make sure we're extra mindful about what we're doing with our arms. Now from here, we can shift back and down, finding that chair pose. We might stay here, or maybe we put a little weight into that right leg. I'm going to press that right foot down, and maybe we can cross left over right. Now maybe the toes are down, maybe the toes are up, maybe the foot wraps around our calf muscle area, maybe it doesn't. Listen to the body. And for a lot of us, whether or not it can wrap around our standing leg has nothing to do with flexibility and everything to do with bone structure. So again, make this time your own. Maybe we're noticing our hips again. Do I tend to jut out through that right hip? So wherever we are, we're going to try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. One more breath. And if we can, we'll unwind, we'll uncross. Now we might need to shake out the legs a little bit. We're going to try it on the opposite side. So we'll bring our elbows out to the side again. This time we're going to take our opposite arm. So if we started with our right, now the left is going underneath. And again, we decide, do I want to have my hands on my shoulders? Backs of the hands meeting, palms meeting, cross. Again, notice when we're focusing so much on what we think it should look like that we're actually compromising what it's feeling like. Now, if we're ready, again, we want to try our best to think toes are pointed straight ahead. We're going to shift back and down, back into that chair pose. This can be our pose. Or maybe we put a little weight into that left leg and we'll cross left over right. We can give ourselves a moment here if we can. Now, if it's possible, we're welcome to find one spot, maybe on the floor or maybe straight ahead, that we can focus on. The video might be hard to focus on because it is technically a moving object, even though it's moving pixels or pixels changing colors. And we're going to try our best to breathe. We're going to try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. Full breath in if possible. Full breath out. One more breath. Now if we can unwind, we can uncross, we can kind of shake things out a little bit, do whatever we might need. We're going to come back to our mountain pose. We'll let those palms rotate forward. Maybe we can feel a little opening up through the shoulders, maybe not. We're going to close the eyes. And we'll take a moment with that. Now if we can we come back to our heartbeat? Just notice how the heart's doing right now. We might find that it's beating a little harder or a little faster, but again, it's okay if it's not right now. Just notice that heartbeat if we can. No expectations, no predictions, no judgments. And then just notice what happens as we breathe in. And breathe out. And now if we are ready, we'll find our flow back to the down dog or child's pose of our choosing. Now we might prefer to get closer to the front of the mat, or we might need space to eventually plant our hands down. Make it your own. We'll inhale our arms up and overhead, and we'll exhale and find our fold. Now if we'd like, we'll add in a halfway lift, and we want to think it is the back strengthening that got us parallel to the floor, and the hands just so happen to find the shins for support. And on the exhale, we'll relax that back down. Now we'll let our hands find the mat. We'll step back. We'll make that upside down letter V. That's our down dog. But again, if that doesn't work, we can drop the knees. We can come to child's pose. And again, can we think little press of the hands down, especially if we tend to press only through the pinky edges of our hands. Can we press through all 5 fingers, little clawing of the mat? Deep breath in, deep breath out. Now if we're ready, we'll find our way into our child's pose. So if our knees are up, I invite you to bring those knees down, and eventually we'll shift back and maybe back and down. And maybe here we can come back to that one breath meditation. And again, whatever our intention was, as always, we want to remind ourselves that our intention is not about what we don't have right now or feel like we're lacking. It is about something we want to see more of. We want to reframe it as more of a positive right now. This is something I already have to some degree, and I'm using this time to remind myself of it and cultivate it and build from it. So take that deep breath in if we can, and out. Now when we are ready, we'll meet in our tabletop position. So we're welcome to come back up, we can readjust. We're going to find our way to threading the needle. Now if we would like, we are welcome to get a block. We are welcome to get a folded towel. We are welcome to get a pillow, something to rest the head on if we would like to rest the head on that. Now if we are ready, we'll take our left arm and we'll reach it up just like before. And when we're ready, we'll slide it underneath the belly. We reach for the wall, but this time everything lowers down. The shoulder, the side of our head, the arm, checking in. If we cannot lower down all the way, maybe we place multiple pillows underneath the head. If that doesn't feel good at all, please come out of it, and maybe we find ourselves in that runner's stretch where we have the arm across our body and we hug it in. It has a lot of the same elements to it. Now, whatever we would like to do with that left or right arm is up to us. It might stay where it is. Some like to slide it out, or even slide it out and turn it onto its pinky edge, as if we are about to shake somebody on the floor's hand. Now we're welcome to place one palm on top of the other. That's another option. And another option is to bend the arm behind the back. Again, make that time your own. What do we need out of this pose right now? And we are going to give it a good number of deep breaths. So I invite you to make sure the pose is constructive. And likewise, I invite you to notice that left arm. Is the left arm still hovering in space right now? If it's possible, we're going to let it relax all the way down. And if it can't relax all the way down, we can always take a folded blanket or a pillow and relax it on that instead. But what we want to do is we want to relax the muscles in that arm. So notice if the hand is still pretty active, it's kind of hovering, and can we completely release it? And can we take a full breath in and a full breath out? One more breath. Now, when we're ready, we're going to unwind from whatever version we found. Eventually, we're going to lift up. We're welcome to reach the arm up again, but we don't have to. Eventually, we come back to table. And if we need a moment here, maybe a little cat-cow movement would feel good, or a little side-to-side wagging dog. Maybe we just want to kind of move around a little bit. Whatever way we need to, we can. Only when we're ready, we'll try it on the opposite side. We can take our right arm up towards the ceiling now. And if we're ready, we'll bring it underneath us, reach towards that opposite wall, and eventually lower down. Adjust and readjust accordingly. This is why I kind of painstakingly mention all the different ways we can be in this pose, because I want you to really check in. Notice the version you want to do and adjust accordingly. Now again, we could have our arm or our left hand by the shoulder. We could slide it out. We could bring it behind the back. We could place one palm on top of the other. If there's another variation that feels good for us and we want to come into that, maybe it's even just hand on the hip, we can. Now, whatever version we found, we're going to come back to that right arm and that right hand. Now, whatever we found, can we help that arm completely relax? This can even be done from that kneeling position, if the kneeling position is what we're doing. But instead of the arm itself, we're going to focus on that shoulder. Notice if the shoulder's up by the ears, relax it down. Now, if we are in the tabletop variation, I invite you to really think about a wave of relaxation traveling down the forearm, into the palms, and into the fingers. Just let that arm relax. We can remind ourselves that our body, our mind, and our breath, those are all two-way streets. When we are stressed, we can clench up through the fist or tense up through our muscles. But those muscles staying tense sends signals to the brain that we need to be on alert. And learning to relax those muscles, even temporarily, can help rewire the brain. Now we're going to try our best to breathe in. And out. One more breath. Now, if we can, we're welcome to come up. If we'd like, we can reach that arm to the ceiling again. We'll eventually come back, maybe a little cat-cow, maybe we want to shake out the wrists, really whatever we need here. And eventually we'll find our way into a seated position. However we want to get there, maybe we like to swing the legs around or roll over the shins. It's really up to us. Now, once we are here, we are welcome to maybe shake out the legs a little. Maybe we move our feet a little. When we are ready, we'll find our way into the twist of our choosing. Now, we can always take in our right knee. We can cross it over the straight leg, and I want you to pause for a moment to lengthen out the back. Maybe those two sit bones can press directly down as we lift up. Now, if we can, we're going to try our best to let our twist towards the right be as hands-free as possible for as long as possible. So let's take a deep breath in. On the exhale, we're going to press the belly to the spine and twist towards the right. The hands aren't really doing anything. And when we feel like we've gone as far as we can go, maybe we can hug the knee. Maybe the elbow naturally found its way to the outside of the thigh. Nothing is forced. That back hand does whatever it needs. If we're looking for a little extra shoulder stretch, we're welcome to bend the arm behind the back, let that back of the hand find, maybe it's the back, maybe it's the opposite hip. Nothing's forced. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more full breath. Now, if we can, we'll come back to center. And we'll twist in the opposite direction, but again, can we go hands-free for a moment? And then the hands go where they need to. Maybe we like to stay upright and the hands are more or less by the body. We're also welcome to plant the hands on the floor, a little bit away from us, or reach those arms out, or have them away from us, walking the hands out, or reach as if we're trying to shake someone's hand. Whatever we need. Full breath in if we can. Full breath out. Now, if we're ready, we'll come back to center. And we'll take a moment in a side bend. We're going to take that right hand down to the ground next to us. Left arm can lift up, or maybe it's more up and overhead. You can just make that side bend your own. It might feel good to walk out that hand or press through the ground. Now, from here, we might find our way into a little bit of a shoulder stretch. Now, we are welcome to take that top arm. We're going to turn that arm away from us. And if we have the space, we're going to bend the elbow and let the back of the hand find the small of the back again. But again, listen to the body. Maybe it's hand on the hip instead. Maybe we've skipped it entirely. Notice what we need here, and it might just feel good to shrug that shoulder back. Maybe the heart is pointing out the ceiling just a little bit more than before. Deep breath in if we can. Deep breath out. And we'll come out the way we came in, so we can unwind and reach up. We can come all the way up. We can relax that arm down. We may even shrug out the shoulders if we need. We'll uncross the legs. We can always shake them out. We can move the feet. That gets the hips moving again. Now, if we're ready, we try it in the opposite direction. We'll bring the opposite leg in, cross it over the straight leg. And again, I want you to take a moment to get tall. Maybe press those sit bones down. Just notice how this pose feels here. Notice if we're trying to jump into the twist, and see if we can just bring ourselves back. So deep breath in. On the exhale, we'll twist towards the left. Press that belly to the spine, hands free if it's possible, and then arms just go wherever they're gonna go. We wanna remember that our hands are here more for support, not to make the twist. So again, we can always take that left hand and let it bend behind the back if that feels good for us. Now try your best to keep that length through the back. Notice if we tend to bow out through the low back, and can we press those sit bones down, get a little bit taller. Deep breath in if we can. Deep breath out. One more breath. Now, if we can, we're welcome to unwind. We're welcome to come to the other side. Maybe we do it hands free. Again, wherever we need the hands to be, maybe they're close to the body. We walk them out a little bit. We walk them out more than a little bit. We reach as if we're trying to shake someone's hand, but we can also point out the ground. Again, all the variations we can do here. Now, whatever we found, we'll try our best to breathe in. And breathe out. Now, if we can, we're gonna come back to center. We'll plant that left hand down, right arm can reach up, and maybe we reach up and overhead and make that side bend your own, what feels good in your unique back. Now, if it feels good, we're welcome to turn the palm away. We're welcome to bend the elbow, bring it behind the back, maybe a little shrug of the shoulders back, maybe a little rotation through that rib cage area, as if the heart is now trying to point out the ceiling a little more for you. Whatever we found here, try your best to breathe in and out. One more breath. Now we'll come out the same way we came in. We're going to first unwind the arm. We'll bring our body back to center. Arms can relax down. We can shrug it out. We can uncross the legs, maybe a little shake out or moving the feet. And we'll bring our backs down onto the mat. And again, I want you to get there however we need to. Today might be a day that we really like to hold on to our knees and very gently roll back. Now, once we are here, it might just feel good to hug the knees and rock. Maybe it feels good to draw circles with the knees. We're eventually finding the twist of our choosing towards the right. Again, any twist we need here. Now today might be a day we like to adjust the hips towards the left and then lightly bring our knees over towards the right. Make that your own. Now if we would like, we are welcome to bring our arms out to the side, maybe like we're drawing the letter T. We could also come back to cactus arms, which does help stretch out some of those rotator muscles in our shoulders, the rotator cuff, if we've ever heard of that. Now, whatever we found here, we're going to try our best to breathe in and try our best to breathe out. Full breath in if we can. Full breath out. One more breath. Now, if we would like, we are welcome to come back to center. And we are welcome to try this in the opposite direction. Again, that might mean readjusting the hips. Knees go however we want them to go. I personally like a little staggered knee. Others prefer stacked knees. Again, notice what we need here. Do we like the cactus arm stretch? Do we like the arms out to the side? So whatever we found here, just a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Full inhale if possible. Full exhale. one more breath. If we're ready, we'll come back to center. We can move in whatever way we need to move. If it works for us, we'll find our way to supine bound angles. We're welcome to let the feet meet and the knees go out towards the side. Now, if we'd like support, we can always place something underneath our thighs, our knees, pillows, blankets, blocks. If we had seen one of my previous classes, we can always take a blanket or a towel. We can unfold it maybe one time. We can even unfold it multiple times if we need. We're going to try our best to roll it up like a burrito. We bring our feet together, knees out to the side. We place it on top of the feet, and then we tuck it in underneath our calf muscle area. That gives us a little more support. We might find we have to kind of walk back down. If we find we can't walk back down, no worries. Maybe we stay upright, maybe we do something different. We have come to that last minute or so of our practice before we can rest in Shavasana. So for our online classes, Shavasana has been on the shorter side. It's closer more to maybe 5 or so minutes. If we need longer than that, I invite you to pause the practice, set a timer on your phone, and give yourself that ample time. Usually the golden number is between 5 and 8 minutes, or even 8 and 10, depending on what we need. Again, make that time your own. If we're going to continue following the video, I'm going to be playing the singing bowls for just a little bit. I'll let them fade into silence, and eventually I will guide us back to our easy seat. And whatever we do between now and when I guide us back, it's always entirely within our power. You're welcome to take a deep breath in and that deep breath out. We are welcome to return movement as movement feels right, and maybe that means we're stretching out through our fingers and toes, maybe moving through the hands and through the feet. We can build up that movement as we're building up. Now, if we would like, eventually we find our way towards an easy seat. Again, no rush. If we need extra time to build up movement or to simply stay where we are welcome to. Only when we are ready, we can bring our hands together at the heart. We'll seal in our practice with that moment of gratitude. And perhaps today, what we might do is do that one breath meditation. And if it is possible, maybe name one thing we are grateful for. And then whatever meaning of Namaste resonates today. And perhaps today it is the strength within me recognizes the strength within you. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your practice. Namaste.